By the way, on this map, which I'll post on Canvas, you can see how Santa Anna, how he's coming up through central Mexico, through Monclova. He's marching his soldiers. It's a really tough march. There's a blizzard, and he doesn't get to Texas until early 1836. So he sent his brother-in-law, General Koss, in the fall of 1835 to occupy San Antonio. By the way, I was thinking as I was jumping from podcast to podcast, I'm sure that there must be some of you all out there that have a come and take it bumper sticker. I'd be shocked if there weren't a number of students in this class that have that same exact bumper sticker. Okay, uh, so here's where we're at. It's late 1835. General Koss and the Mexican army, a kind of a small Mexican army, has occupied San Antonio. They also captured Goliad as well. Goliad's in their hands, and then Santa Anna is getting his act together with about 5,000 soldiers to march into Texas to suppress the unrest in Texas. So things start to move along pretty quickly. So after the failure of the attempt to capture the Gonzales cannon, the Texas revolutionaries capture Goliad. So Goliad now is in the hands of the revolutionaries. So that's another victory for the revolutionaries. Early in the war, everything went great for the Texas revolutionaries. Then in December of 1835, the Texas revolutionaries attempt to recapture San Antonio. And by this point, Stephen F. Austin is on the scene. He commands the militia of Texas revolutionaries that have gone into San Antonio and are outside of San Antonio. Really, a lot of the fighting happened around the missions, and are attempting to capture San Antonio from General Koss and his soldiers. Austin's not going to he's not going to be on the scene for much longer. He's going to be replaced as the commander of the militia around San Antonio. He's sent to the United States to help lobby for men and material and money, and he dies very, very quickly after the Texas Revolution. So Austin, kind of a tragic figure, actually. He never actually got to take advantage. He never made the money off the being an impresario. Actually, his sister was the one that would reap the fruits of being the sister of Stephen F. Austin, and she actually had a plantation in Southeast Texas. But Austin never he never reaped the benefits of being an impresario, and pretty soon he's going to disappear from the scene. Um, okay, so that's Stephen F. Austin. So what you have is by December of 1835, the Texas revolutionaries um, are successful and they capture San Antonio. They defeat General Koss in house-to-house fighting. He surrenders to the Texas revolutionaries. So in December of 35, San Antonio it's in the hands of Texas revolutionaries. So Texas revolutionaries have had three victories in the fall of 35. The Gonzales, the come and take it fight. The Texas revolutionaries capture Goliad as well. And then this culminates in December of 1835 when Texas revolutionaries capture San Antonio, which of course is the biggest prize of all because San Antonio is the center of the Mexican government in Texas, and it's also the largest community in Texas. So things are going very, very well for the Texas Revolution in by January 1st, 1836. But there's a storm cloud to the southwest, and that storm cloud is Santa Anna, because he is marching his troops from north central Mexico, about 5,000 men or so. He's marching them towards Texas and into Texas. So it's kind of things are looking good for the revolutionaries, but there's trouble heading their way in the form of Santa Anna's army. He has just not gotten there yet. But the Texans control Santa Ana, Goliad, and Gonzales. So onto the scene comes Sam Houston. Sam Houston is a very, very interesting character. He's from Tennessee. He had been a protege of Andrew Jackson, who just happened to be president of the United States. And to this day, there's a lot of speculation that Andrew Jackson sent Sam Houston to Texas to try to capture Texas for the U.S. There's no smoking gun evidence, but there's a lot of speculation. Houston had been a successful politician. He'd been uh, elected governor of Tennessee in the early 1830s, but something kind of crazy happened. He resigned the governorship. That he had some kind of health problems. Uh, uh, we think that did not allow him to have intimate relations with his wife, and we don't really know. It was kind of a mess. So Houston divorces his wife. He'd been wounded in a battle in the early 1820s, and it still really affected him. So he divorces his wife. He steps down as governor of Tennessee. He actually goes and lives among the Cherokee in Tennessee. He's there for like over a year. They call him the big drunk. He's drunk for most of the time he's there because he's so unhappy. He had this promising career that suddenly went south. And then, like so many folks that came into Texas and still come into Texas, actually, he decided he was going to come to Mexican Texas, and he was going to try to restart his career. The whole gone to Texas ideal that you go to Texas to restart your career for a fresh start. So Sam Houston comes into Texas. Again, he's an illegal immigrant. He comes into Texas illegally, and he's a very well-known figure. He had fought successfully in many battles. He had served in the House of Representatives of the United States. He's a very well-known politician. And he's also famously closely associated with Andrew Jackson. So what happens is the Texas Revolutionary Government, it's called the Consultation, they appoint Sam Houston as the head of the Texas Revolutionary Army because he has so much status and he has a lot of military experience. So now Sam Houston, by late 1835, is head of the Texas Revolutionary Army. But the Texas Revolutionary Army is kind of a mess, right? It's not well armed. It's made up of citizen militia. Very few have fought. It's not a well-trained army. There are no uniforms. People are using their own weapons. There's very little discipline. There's little if someone disobeys Sam Houston's orders, which happened all the time, there's almost nothing he could do about it. So Houston's the head of a Texas Revolutionary Army that's kind of a mess. That's kind of a mess. And Houston actually never makes it to San Antonio. He's there are other officers that capture San Antonio in December of 1835. Houston's not part of that capture. So he's on paper, it looks pretty impressive. The reality is a little bit different. So the Texans capture San Antonio, the revolutionaries, and then they start marching towards Mexico, towards Matamoros, because they think the people in Matamoros will join them in the revolution. Well, Houston skedaddles down as the Texans from San Antonio, including Jabui. He goes down and he begs the army that's going from San Antonio to Matamoros. He begs them to turn around. He says, "Look, this is ridiculous. We're dissipating our forces. Santa Anna, I know, is on his way up here, and this is just crazy." And so what Houston does is it reinforces Goliad. So there are about 400 or 500 Texas revolutionaries in Goliad under James Fannin. So, and then he also orders Jim Bowie back to San Antonio, and I'll talk about Jim Bowie in the next podcast. And he orders Jim Bowie to abandon San Antonio because he doesn't think that San Antonio can be defended. And he orders Jim Bowie to take the Texas revolutionaries who were in San Antonio and to join with him east of San Antonio, where he's trying to gather an army. He's trying to organize and train an army. So Jim Bowie goes back to San Antonio and he disobeys Houston. He decides that San Antonio can be defended, and on his own, just on his own direction, Jim Bowie disobeys Sam Houston's order, and the Texans stay in San Antonio, and that's going to have profound consequences very, very shortly.